Hello everyone, welcome back to Gelvin Valley, created by our friend Wes. We are planting a few trees while the weather goes nuts here. So, actually, oh shoot, almost ended up in the ditch. I don't want to be like that car that got tossed off the hill. Figured we'd do a little of this while the weather is inclement, and hopefully we aren't totally flooded down here yet, which sometimes happens. Yeah, I think we still have a clear path. I'm pretty sure it can eventually get up to maybe even part of this bridge. So we'll try to sneak through here while we can. Last episode, I know I made this brief mention, and I almost think Wes commented on this once, where, and Wes, if you're listening to this, is it your intent that the Gelvin River, that's what I just drove by there, is that what's in here in Gelvin Valley? I guess it would stand to reason. But anyway, I mentioned that on Google Earth in Northern Ireland, I was able to find something called the Gelvin River. I don't think I was even searching for it. I was just looking at, I don't know, I'm kind of dumb. I like looking at maps and going all over and seeing different areas of the world and, you know, just thinking about the people that may live there, what they do, just seeing areas, you know, I know good and well I'll never be in real life. So I think in Northern Ireland, I know that, you know, that's kind of what this map is based off of. Some names started popping off the map of Google Earth that that I know Wes mentions kind of in his opening placard for the map, if you will. One of those being Gelvin itself. I couldn't find anything on Gelvin Valley, but there is a Gelvin River, and I saw some other things. Forgive me, I don't know how to pronounce it. Dungiven or something like that. Maybe it's a mountainous area, and it isn't just Northern Ireland. I believe it also has influence from portions of the UK and Scotland as well. So I think kind of tongue-in-cheek he calls it an Irish, Scottish, British map, if there is such a thing. So, well, I really don't care what you call it. I really like it in here. So, and Wes, you know, if I'll just say again, if you ever had a hankering to take this to a more recent version of Farming Sim, I have a feeling there would be a lot of people that would just love it. Because I gotta say, there are some good maps coming out. There are a few, but personally, this is just my opinion. It feels more few and far between that you get a really good map anymore, and I'm not sure why that is. I'm sure some have theories on why that would be. Now, last time I ran out somewhere in here. Was this on my... Is this the second lap, or did I do 2 laps? Oh, let me just follow along here and see if I can figure out, because I think for a while I just kept going and didn't even realize I was out of trees like a ding-dong. So was this my last? Hey, I think I stopped way over here because I don't see. Yeah, I'll just kind of plunk it in right here, and oops, not the weight. You see, am I on? Oh, yes, it isn't going to show me this. Show me my help. F1. But before I do that, maybe what I want to do is show you on a map where I found the Gelvin River. So give me just a sec here. I'm going to hop out of game. Alright, so this here is Google Earth, We are in Northern Ireland. This is Ireland over here. We zoom out to the UK. So I have it tagged, and I tagged 2 locations. The headwaters. Everybody knows the rivers always start uphill from where they end up. So here is at the very bottom of it. I forget where I saw the label. I don't know if you have to be out. See, I put this label here, but somewhere in here, maybe I don't know when it shows labels versus when it doesn't. Like this here, this is what I mean by label. So it goes into the River Row, or however you say that, which I believe if you follow the River Row, it goes all the way to the ocean, somewhere up here. And it's a much bigger river system. It comes way down over into here, I think, maybe down in this valley over here. But the Gelvin River flows into the River Row, and it just kind of meanders its way. And so I was just noticing this, and somewhere in here, I know it has a label. And it's just, there's lots of farms in here, and it just sort of meanders hither and yon. And, well, maybe it doesn't come up here. Yeah, I guess it keeps going. It's kind of hard to tell when you can't see the, you know, maybe if I put it on map view, would it tell me? Well, there's a Gelvin Road. Maybe it doesn't show me the rivers on here. It shows the River Row. Gelvin River. Yeah, maybe it doesn't show the rivers kind of like it would here on the satellite view. I'm positive somewhere in here there was a label. Maybe you just got to be zoomed in far enough to see it. But there's also other things you can do. So maybe, long story short, by the time you follow this down and it comes right up into the mountains here. I could take this 3D. I think you can kind of see the contour, the lay of the land. It gets up in here. I forget if it zips up over around here, but somewhere up here, yeah, here it is. We're following it. It peters out, and this is pretty much the headwaters, if you will, of the mighty Gelvin River. So I know it goes through some forestry up here at some point. I'm not sure what all the ground is. Doesn't look like there's much foliage there. But I just wanted to show that it does exist in real life. I'm not sure why the pictures are clearer here versus up here, but I do see there's name of some viewpoints here. The town of Dungiven. There's where was it? It was a Sparran. I think that was another term that he had. Sparran area of outstanding natural beauty. I guess that's what it's called in here, but I think he mentions that as some of his inspiration for making the map. Maybe he had this one listed, I don't remember, but it was just kind of neat to come in here and see some of what Wes had in his map description and see some of those same names in here. What would be really curious to me is to know where specifically his father's farm was or where he grew up, but yeah, I'm sure that's private and I would never ask him for that. But it's just a beautiful countryside here. You know, I guess they don't call it the Emerald Isle for nothing. The amount of rain they must get to keep all these fields so green and lush must just be beyond the pale. And in some ways, it's interesting he didn't build that into the map, although maybe you couldn't in Farm Sim 15 alter the weather. But anyway, just wanted to show that here, and while I'm here, maybe, I'm pretty sure probably anybody watching this has heard of Coldborough Park Farm. We go across the channel, if you will. Let me see if I can take you to it. Oop. Oh, how do I take it to it? Location. You know what? I can zoom out. I know it's over here in the UK, close to Wales, but not quite in it. Down here, Coldborough Park Farm, another outstanding map made by Bullet Bill, and it is based on an actual real-life farming location. Maybe people looking at this can kind of recognize kind of the lay of the land. It kind of came to a point out here. I almost think he had something in there labeled Perry Stone, and other things built in. But somebody somewhere had a map of the world where various farming simulator maps were located, and I mean, just zooming out, is the whole world, and it just had all over. It's kind of a cool little thing to have, where you can just pick your region, if you will, on where you want to farm. So anyway, I'll head back into the game. I just wanted to show that to anybody that was interested. Wes designed it using real life inspiration, even though it doesn't mirror an exact location, if you will. So, well, to continue kind of on the topic I've been on, I need to get on the stick. Probably people are tired of it. Oh, I should be over closer here. Just reflecting on my son and the weekend that we had passed of his wedding. Thinking a bit more about him. I know last episode I kind of spent a bunch of time on a hunting trip, fishing, and there's other stories too, or other things, that I know we all do. It's primarily men that listen to these, and as dads trying to, when your child has an interest in something, there is a desire to feed it. Although, I dare say, sometimes as men, I'm not going to say it's a mistake. Starting out, you never know what your kid may be interested in, so you may try to influence them certain directions. Well, we kind of did that by getting a farming sim, but like I say, that kind of fizzled for him for whatever. He was far more interested in a video game that mimicked hunting than he ever was in farming sim, so I better get one more pallet. But what I tried to do was take the family on annual fishing trips. My only regret is I should have started doing it when they were much younger. I don't remember kind of when we got started. Incidentally, this particular year, the way the timing works out, we won't do it. But usually we would take a fishing trip kind of in the fall of the year, around September-ish, go to some mountain lakes. The state where I live is just loaded with beautiful mountain scenery and lakes, lots of fishing areas. And we wouldn't really camp. We would usually get in a cabin of some kind or a lodge and stay there, and then fish during the days and have campfire time, family time in the evenings. And sometimes I would go out on the boat. We typically would, use my father's boat, the same one that we had when I was a kid. Now his kids are using it. And my son, he got a boating license. I don't even have that. So, if we're going to use a boat, he has to operate it because he's the one that's licensed to do it. And so he figured all that out. He took the test and everything that he needed to. And some of the time I would go out with him, but I don't know. To me, fishing is pretty boring too. Where you sit there and if there's no action, I don't know. Of course, someone will look at me and say, well, farming is boring too. You spend all this time doing the same thing over and over. But I don't know. For some reason, I'm happy as a clam doing this. And when I go visit a real life farm, I am just fascinated to my very core just watching machines do what they do. Anyway, like I said in the last episode, who could explain what a person is interested in? But we did lots of fall fishing trips. I hope this is something we continue doing as a family. Oh yeah, watch this water come up onto the road. Yeah, pretty soon we won't be able to drive on here. So hoping to do that in the future. Whoops. I'm not sure what this is all about. Oh, that was kind of strange. Something kind of just caught. I don't know what that did with the video, but okay. I don't think I had any errors. Nope. If Cornholio's watching this, he'll probably just say it's too much tax on the laptop. You know what? I wonder if it's Google Earth doing this. Maybe having the app browser open. Give me just a second here. I'll be right back. Alright, I took down the browser. We'll see if that makes a difference. There's only so much memory that can go around, so we took down Google Earth. One particular story I remember, and my son, he really just loves being out on the water. Actually, both of them do. You know, fishing, sometimes their luck has been better than others. He's gotten himself into fly fishing, which I think is more challenging to him. And most of what they do is simply catch and release. And if they happen to catch a fish and aren't able to release it, it's kind of a mistake, and those we eat for supper or whatever. But most of the time, it's just they do it just for the sheer joy of catching a fish and just turning her back. All right, maybe a few more winter saplings. Is 40 more? I don't know. Maybe one more. Oh yes. There we go. Kicks me into that van again. I wonder if I need to open the map and move the point at which you come out. I wonder if that's Wes's sense of humor, jamming you into that car there and hoping you figure out a way to get out of it. That would... Oh, I about ended up in that ditch again. Don't dare look away from the screen. But there was one time he was out fishing, and usually they're all business, you know, when they're out there. Lines are in the water, and they're dedicated to catching fish. But there was one time I was really proud of him, and I wasn't along on this particular trip. They came upon another boater, shall we say, and you know, like any other thing in life, the people you meet in fishing are going to have varying levels of skill, and ditto with boating. There was a couple guys who had, maybe it was two canoes, one canoe, vastly overloaded with their camping stuff, and they had hauled it out to some place, you know, where they were camping, and they were headed home, and they capsized. And so my son comes upon him. He's out there fishing. Well, he abandons, you know, any notion of fishing, as I recall, and helps them retrieve their stuff and get it in the boat. And I think he may have helped him get to shore. I don't remember the details exactly, but then made several trips across the lake and back. And I don't know how long it took to get across a lake. Some of them are decent sized. But, you know, if you figure, and this wasn't a huge boat, you know, we didn't have any amazing boat, you know, it just putzed. So it may have taken him half an hour to go one way across. Well, you do that a few times, you start stacking up real time, and I think these guys, yeah, they overloaded a canoe. I think he helped them salvage most of it. I don't know, maybe some of it went to Davy Jones' locker. But they were late to catch a plane. I mean, they had it all planned out, and then, yeah, something fouled up. But, so he saved the day, or attempted to, and everybody with him, even though it meant giving up fishing time. Oh, what else can I share about my son? Oh, I see something here on my note page. He's taller than I am, and I know he's over 6 feet. And I remember him, growing up, you know, we periodically would measure his height, and in high school, he would periodically say, hey, can you see how tall I am? And I remember when he reached 6 feet, and I'm not 6 feet tall. that he looked at me, he's looking down at me, and he just said, "I made it." I said, "What do you mean?" I knew exactly what he meant. You know, of course, 6 feet is higher than average. Never mind what women say that they think is average or want in a man. 6 feet is, shoot, I think even I am above average in height, and I'm not 6 feet. But it was just kind of amusing to me. He wanted his daddy to make sure he knew that he'd achieved something that his old man hadn't. So, all right, bud, you're 6 feet. You made it. But I think you made it. Never mind what height you were. All right, let's get a few more of these trees planted and in the ground. He also, I've never really caught much facial hair. I would have the ability to, get a decent beard. My boys have tried to get me incessantly to grow facial hair, get a beard, a mustache, or something. And I don't know. I just don't think it's me. I don't know what everybody else's habit is, but I do get tired of shaving, so most of the time I let it go for the week, and I'll shave it, Sunday morning or something to kind of take the foliage back down to a base level so it isn't too obnoxious. But that isn't him, so he has a fine mustache, and I think for a while he had a beard, but I think he prefers just the mustache now, so hey, whatever. Different strokes for different folks, right? There we go. 15. Can I get rid of those other 15 in here? I bet I can. In college, he went to a local university that wasn't really there back when I was going to school. I live very close to where I grew up as a kid, and I went to a place called Oregon State University, which is about a 45-minute drive south of our home here. Took up accounting, and there's another college that is here close to home. It's a Christian college called Corbin University, and so it was a private school, so the cost a lot of times is higher, but he was able to get a couple scholarships, and as we ran the numbers, for living expenses, it more than penciled out because, staying here close, he could live at home. And I gotta say, I am thankful for the blessing of that. When I went to college, all 4 years I spent I came home weekends, but otherwise, all during the week, I spent down at the college. We had a house down there for a while. My brothers and I lived in, and for the first year I was there, I was in the dormitory 1 full year. I stayed with a little old lady for a year. So the point is I was down there pretty much all the time. And here, my son basically went to 4 years of college, and as I reflect on that now, that was a huge blessing being able to have him home all 4 of those years. That, my parents, for all intents and purposes, I wasn't home at all. I was down there, except on the weekends. Of course, I'd already kind of done that to him in the summers, where I was working in Lone Oak Farms. And for a number of those years, it was before I was eligible to drive. I didn't have a license, although that sure didn't stop me on the farm from driving trucks and whatnot on the road. But since I didn't have a license, I didn't have my own car. It was just easier for me to stay up at Lone Oak Farms. They had a bed for me in the basement, and so I was away from home a lot, over summers and whatnot, whereas my son, was around. So, as I think on that now, There was more blessings here than I even realized. But anyway, in college, he took up accounting, just like I had. That's what I took at OSU. So he graduated with pretty much exactly the same degree I had, but kind of like I mentioned before, he's gonna end up a beekeeper. I don't anticipate him taking up accounting though. But I'll tell you, I mean, if you want to be a business person, run a business, accounting sure doesn't hurt you. You know, and you learn how those numbers are put together, what they mean, how to interpret them. It can only help you, you know, in your business. So yeah, even the nerds are useful sometime. And if you can take some of your own nerd classes, it can be helpful. And here I'm bragging on him again. In high school as well as in college, he was very studious. He graduated at the top of his class, valedictorian in high school, and in college. I don't think they have the equivalent. I think what they call it is, I think if you graduate with honors, it's cum laude. Uh, a certain GPA, magna cum laude maybe, and then summa cum laude. And so he somehow he managed to be summa cum laude in college, so he did very very well. And I haven't a clue how he was able to do it really, because this whole time he was he had his own beekeeping to do. It wasn't as many hives as you know what he has now. I think he's up to, I don't know, 600 hives. So he maybe had 300 or whatever. He's trying to get as large as he could. Um, there it goes. All right, we're done with that. But oops, didn't mean to do that. Home. That's the one I wanted. But somehow he was able to fit all that in, and when I say that, I mean it's you know, he just worked hard, and you know, as much as I'd love to as a dad, I can't take credit for any of that. It's, I don't know, you just never know where the influence parents may make in some cases versus not. Some things are just God given, and I don't know. It's a hard question. I don't think we'd ever solve as to what causes one person to do what they do versus another person maybe making different choices. I'm gonna head up here and check out. Oh, my poor apples are probably getting pummeled by all this hail here. So I'm gonna go see if there's any ready to fall off the trees. I don't remember what growth state it's at. So we kind of had an interest in accounting. I don't recall particularly pushing him that direction. That was ultimately his choice. I even told him maybe he could minor in something like entomology or something. You know, because that has to do with bugs, and for whatever reason, he wasn't interested in that. He just chose flaw account. Oh my, this trailer's damaged. Speaking of trailers, by the way, that other trailer that I have down on the main farm, you know, the one that I carry rocks in, it is specially designed to hold physics objects, which is why I'm using it for hauling rocks. But it has a problem. Whoever created the vehicle somehow, or maybe I messed it up some way, it shines and glows in the dark, so something is wrong with the texture. And I'm real grateful someone who watches these videos. Oh, whoa, there is nothing. Is there nothing in here? Oh, okay, so some of these have some in here. Alright, I'm gonna... Yeah, it's 176. Let me drop the trailer. We at least got rid of the rest of our material. 44%. Alright, so it's part of the way there. Rain, hail, go away. Hopefully when we hit 9, we'll be out of the mess here. But we'll see. Sometimes it quits at the top of the hour, but who knows. Another thing he's interested in is diesel trucks, Dodge trucks in particular. He was so excited to get one. I don't remember how old he was. I think he drove it to high school, so I think it was in his high school years that we even had it. Might have even come out of the state of Washington. I don't recall exactly. But he has loved that thing. He also spent a ton of money. Well, to me it is creating. He took the old bed off the truck. It's a standard pickup truck, and he had one of my cousins, who's a metal fabricator, create a brand new bed and mount it on the truck that's a flat bed. So now he can haul his bee equipment and stuff on there, and he's just taking beautiful care of it. Although I would say it's a little long in the tooth, maybe showing some of its age. 92%. I guess I don't need to. All right, let me get that off. You know, I'm kind of curious. Let's see, where would I go? I don't come up this way. I want to go by a field. See, there is a field in here, as I get to the farming part, that I still can't figure out why 47 and number 2 have all these canola bits in there. I'm kind of curious to see if this hail did anything rotten in those fields by, well, not rotten, just maybe making them look funny. So I'm going to zip over here and take a peek at that. There's the bell. What else can I share? I think I mentioned in previous episodes this property that the family purchased. It wasn't specifically for him, but kind of the way it's working here is he and his new wife will be staying there, renting it from his mom and dad. So they'll be moving in there as soon as they get back from their honeymoon. And yeah, he basically asked for that, so... Alright, now let me see. No? I don't see a single thing wrong with this field. Does anybody else? I mean, this is normal cultivated soil. Yeah? There's... Maybe down along the creek there's some damage from the hail, but I don't get it. Where that's coming from. That's just kind of bizarre. Well, don't know. I can't really fix it here, but it is what it is, as they say. Maybe I'll get a little fuel while I'm here. And that really, I think we all heard the bell go. And I see no abatement in the hail, so we're going to have to wait a little bit longer before we can set about planting. But I'll maybe take off down to the farm, and next episode I'll start moving machinery out. Maybe I'll grab a few more pallets to plant of saplings. I don't know. We'll have to find something to do because, yeah, I just don't want the hail to damage or harm new planting, which I know it will. I've already shown you a little bit of damage, I think, in the previous episode. So that's what it would do to a planted field, potentially. And I would just as soon be safe, and the whole field would recover when I plant it. Yeah, I'm just glad the hail doesn't come around that often. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and coming along on this episode. I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.